Hi, I'm Suzie Cheel, and today I'm talking with Jodi Chapman from Soul Speaks. Hi, Jodi.
Hello. So nice to be here with you.
Oh, it's wonderful. It's wonderful to meet you. And one of the things I've discovered, Jodi, is from meeting you online and reading your blog and things that we have quite a lot in common as well.
It sounds like it for sure.
So, Jodi, you're about to launch your program that's called Back to Life. And I believe that you have a very interesting story as to why you're doing this and how you got called back to life in your own world. So is there a way that you can briefly tell the viewers how this happened?
I'll talk very quickly. There definitely is a way. I used to be really skeptical and extremely left brain. I prided myself on living from a rational mind, and so 2 years ago something happened to me that shook my entire belief system, my entire world, and I didn't know what to do with it. It started with a dream, and I'd like to share that dream really quickly with you. There was this faceless guy who held a gun to his head, and he said, "I think if I pull the trigger, I wouldn't die." And I was, of course, crying and begging him to put the gun down, and he pulled the trigger. And when I opened my eyes, still in the dream, but I opened my eyes in the dream, I saw that he was right. He was still living, and he was laughing and said, "You know, I told you we never die." And then I woke up. But I had that, it was kind of hanging over me. It felt like a dream, but it also felt real. And I tried to shake it off and just go about my day. So I got into the shower, and I was shampooing my hair, and I felt this bump right here at the base of my skull. And that's where the bullet went out of his head. So it kind of freaked me out. But I was a skeptic still, so I just kind of thought, well, maybe I hit my head in the middle of the night, and maybe it's just a strange coincidence. I mean, this couldn't be connected to the dream, of course.
And this wouldn't happen to me, you know?
Of course. It's not even in my possibility, you know? And so I went about my day and just forgot about it, because that's what I had done throughout my whole life, is if I couldn't explain something or prove something, I just pushed it aside. And so later that day, I was on Facebook, and a friend of mine from high school posted that she was so sorry that Steve had died. And I knew, I don't know how I knew, but I knew that she was talking about my first love, my first boyfriend, Steve. So I quickly got on and asked her what happened, and she said the night before he shot himself in the head and died.
That just gives me goosebumps, just you telling me the story.
And at that point, of course, I was in shock and forgot all about the dream, because I was more in grief, and just, even though we hadn't spoken in almost 20 years, all the memories come flooding back of our time together. And then not only that, but just, I'd never known anybody who had killed themselves before, and to think about the pain that he must have been feeling right before he pulled the trigger was almost more than I could handle. It was just like, how I've had really low moments in my life, we all have.
Yes.
But I've never had that low of a moment where I've
where you wanted to end your life. Yeah.
Exactly. And so I was feeling obviously very upset. But I tried to push it aside. Again, I didn't want to deal with it. And so I went back to work, which is my safety zone.
Yeah.
And so at the time I had a gift business, and I packed a lot of orders. We sent out journals and that sort of thing. And so I was in our shipping room just packing up orders. I looked down, and in the middle of the floor there was this cross pendant. I don't know if you can see, but it's probably hard to see.
Yes,
but
I can see it, yes.
Yeah, so this was just sitting on the floor. And I have to say, I was not religious. I didn't have any crosses just hanging out in my house, especially in the middle of my floor. And again, I pushed it aside and thought, this can't be connected. I think a little voice inside said, you need to listen to this, you need to pay attention. And I said, no, I'm not going to pay attention to that. So the last thing that I wanted, honestly, in my life at that time was to have this paranormal kind of metaphysical stuff to deal with. I had enough on earth to deal with. You know, I had my business, my gift business wasn't doing as well as I hoped it would, and that was really sad and frustrating, and I didn't know how to fix it. And also I had been in a car accident a few years prior, and my body was just taking a lot longer to heal than I wanted it to. And we had lost, my husband and I had to move away from our dream home under really surprising circumstances, and we were kind of still pulling up the pieces from that. So I liked to just hang out in my bed, pull the covers up, and pretend that it would all get better.
Yeah, so, I know that feeling well. Right.
Yeah, I think we all do. So the last thing I wanted was all these signs to show up, and I could hear Steve's voice in my head, and that really scared me because I was not open to that at all. Well, I could hear him talking to me. And it wasn't like you and I are talking now. I didn't actually hear his voice. It was like a feeling and a knowing that I heard. And I don't know how else to describe it other than I just could hear him. And so the things that he would say to me were kind of pushy and not as sugar-coated as I would have liked. And he would say, you know, I died, but you kind of checked out a long time ago. And we used to be so young and vibrant and full of life and promise and hope and all of that. And we both let life get to us. And he said, you know, I couldn't hang, but I want to help you come back to life. And I want to be that help.
That is just amazing.
But I still didn't believe him. So it took a year of me saying, well, if you're really here, then you're going to remember what our song was, and you're going to play it next on the radio. And he would. And I'd say, well, that's a coincidence. So if you're really here, you're going to do it again. And he would.
Wow.
And a year of that going on until finally he said, can we just get to work? You know, time's wasting, and we've got work to do. And so that's what my message is to help others, because I feel like Steve gave me such a beautiful gift. He pulled me out of myself and my own kind of misery. He gave me that helping hand, and I feel like I can't just keep this gift just for me. I have to share it and help others who are in that suffering right now.
And there's a lot of people who have a sign or a gift in their life that maybe they haven't even recognized, that through you sharing your story and the Back to Life course, this will help them on their path as well.
And it's funny you say that, because I know that these signs were happening all of my life and I just didn't recognize them. And I think that happens to all of us. We're so closed off to opening up to the magic, and that's why week 4 is actually called Opening Up, because it's about the signs and just trusting your intuition. Because we all have that inner knowing that says, maybe you should pay attention to this, and we shut it down.
And people often don't realize that the signs are there for different reasons, that you see different signs. When I see a feather, I'm always reminded of Paul Colo, who says that when he sees a feather, he knows it's time to start writing another book.
I love that.
And I know through working with Angela's work of becoming aware of the signs and things. I know hers is coins. For mine is hearts. And I'll just realise that at a Tai Chi class one day, I looked down and there was a tiny little heart in the grass. And I thought, that was really, yes, somebody had dropped a little heart off a shoe or a sandal, but it was just right under my feet at Tai Chi. And I realised that, why am I painting all these hearts and things? And I realise now, different signs, and people will give me hearts as presents and that. So we need to look for those signs that lead us on that path as well.
It's true. And just think of if you hadn't have been open to seeing that heart, or if you saw it and just stepped over it and didn't even think twice about it, you had to be open to a certain extent to take that in.
And so, Jodi, in this course, will you be helping people get to that opening point? Because often a the people who are coming will be coming because they're ready to open. But for some people that can be really hard. They say, oh, I can't do that. You know, I don't get any signs. Will you be able to help them with that?
I think I would like to say yes, of course, but they have to be open to it.
Yeah.
It's a personal choice, and I would love to take everyone's pain away and open everyone up to the universe. Yeah, but I can't do that. You know, I can only focus on me and putting out as much good as I can into the world and hoping that it sticks with whoever needs it to stick with them. I wish I could say yes, but I'm giving the tools and the helping hand so that if they're ready, the course will help lift them out. And that is true because it's what I used myself to lift me out.
And I think that's important, isn't it? And everybody will find, well, that's what Jodi did, or maybe, you know, that's what Suzie did to do her thing. But they will find their own way of doing it. Yeah. And they'll take the tools that you provide and adapt them to what their life is.
Yeah, because we're all on our own path, and it's going to look different for everybody. I mean, you don't have to have somebody from the other side talking to you in order to come back to life. That's just my story.
Yes.
You know, you don't have to have that. You can just have a moment of clarity one day where you think, enough. I'm tired of sleepwalking. I'm waking up. And that's your coming back to life moment.
I like that.
You know?
I'm tired of sleepwalking. I think that's wonderful. Yeah. And for other people, it'll be, oh, I'm tired of, you know, hiding. Hide from shining our light to the world because we feel we're not ready. Or, I don't know whether you suffer from this, we're concerned other people about what other people think. It's
so funny you mentioned that because I was so afraid to be seen, period, at all. I mean, just the fact that we're talking right now is a push for me because 2 years ago, no way. I mean, I was hiding behind my company. I had the logo in the front, nothing about me. I mean, I was so afraid to shine. And exactly what you said, I didn't feel like I was ready, or I was worried of people saying, who does she think she is? You know, getting out there, and all of that insecurity and just gunk was keeping me down. And I had to let all that go.
I think that's wonderful that you shared that, because I'm sure there'll be other people watching thinking, I think Jodi was like that. I've seen her out there doing things. So I think that is really important. And I know people think the same of me because people see me as being out there. But I know that I've recently been using illness and fractures to think, oh, well, I don't really have to put myself out there yet. You can hide behind lots of different things that can stop you in your life.
And it's being conscious of that instead of using those things as crutches. You know, where my 20s, I was sick for a decade with various things. And that was a great excuse because I had a valid excuse to not get out there. But if I look back on it now, I think it was an excuse. And valid or not, it was keeping me from living my life. And so we just have to be conscious and aware of why we're making the decisions we're making. And that's kind of a hard thing because we have to call each other on our stuff, you know?
That's right. And one of the things that I've observed you doing with this, and you've talked about doing as well, is actually asking for help. And I know I find that's a challenge. Did you initially, when you were thinking, oh, I'm going to put this course together, but I need help, you just thought, it's time? Or
No. This has been a journey, like I said, of 2 years, and before my sort of spiritual awakening started, I prided myself on doing everything alone and on my own, and my ego was totally in control. You know, I'm going to do it all, but it wasn't getting me anywhere, and it was such a closed-off, isolated way to live. And so a couple of years ago, with Steve's help, I started opening up, and I started because I wanted to surround myself with people who understood where I was and all of these changes that were happening in my life. I wanted support with that. And so when I went to create the course, it was really important to me to include people who really helped me along my own journey. So everybody who's in the course in some way helped me come back to life. And that's how I know they can help others, because they are all in my toolbox.
Right. I understand. Yeah.
And it's really become almost a movement where they help spread the word, and then their readers or friends help spread the word, because there's so many of us who know what it's like to be checked out and are ready to plug back in, you know?
Absolutely. Yes, I imagine there'll be a lot of people who think, that's me. Maybe this is my time to do this.
Yeah, exactly.
So, Jodi, your course is starting in 2 weeks on October the 1st. So for people who are watching this, they can just go to the link that will be underneath and on the video to get more information. I've read through the page, and people can get all the information they need there to get started. And I think one of the other wonderful things you've got with this is you're having a Facebook group as well.
It's beautiful, and we're already getting to know each other inside the group. We're introducing ourselves, and it's a private group, so we could feel safe really telling each other where we really are starting from. And one thing that I'm really grateful for is people are already showing up authentically, and they're taking off their masks of who they think they should be, and they're really saying, I'm on the floor. This is my moment. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get up. And I really appreciate that, because so often in life we show the world our representative instead of the real us. And I didn't want this course to be like that. So they're actually, everybody who's already introduced themselves are helping me to continue to show up where I am, you know, and it's beautiful.
It sounds absolutely wonderful. It sounds like a place that I think I would love to be as well, and I imagine a lot of other people will too.
I'm really excited.
I can see that. I think it's a wonderful thing, and for all of those of you who want to come back to life, I think this opportunity that Jodi's offering, and as you say, it's like a movement, obviously building a real community of support around you where you yourself can be authentic, I think is really important. Yes, because so often what we do put out to the world is not exactly what we're feeling inside, and we need help and support to grow along that way.
Definitely. And I think, like I said, that people who are joining are really teaching me that I don't necessarily have to be the teacher. I can just be me, and that's enough. And so it comes back to just having a space for each other, holding that space to say you're enough and your truth is okay. And I love that. It's such a beautiful gift that we're giving each other.
Oh, it is. I love that. You're enough, because so often we say, what is it? I'm not enough. But we all are enough, and we need to believe that to make that sometimes courageous step forward to step into our light and to shine.
But the world completely opens up when you do start taking that step forward, because the universe supports you wholeheartedly. And so things start happening really quickly when you do.
It's so exciting. Well, Jodi, it's been absolutely delightful to talk to you today. And I love what you've shared, and I think it's been a wonderful gift that you're giving to the world. Today I've been talking to Jodi Chapman from Soul Speaks, and you'll find Jodi at jodichapman.com. And this has been Suzie Cheel from Inspiration from the Heart, SuzieCheel.com.